good morning, and thank you so much for having us. We are really, really excited to be here as part of your ERIC Careers Fair Week. My name is Jenny Fletcher, and I am the Programme Manager for Girls on Track UK programme, which is one of our inclusion programmes that we have at Motorsport UK. And I have my colleagues Evelka and Luena with me. I'll just ask them to give a quick introduction to who they are. So Evelka, if you want to start.
Good morning, everyone, and so excited to be here with you all and hope you're having a good day so far. So, as Jenny mentioned, I'm Evelka Powell and I am the Programme Manager for Race for Diversity, which is another one of our inclusion programs here internally. And I am excited to tell you more about that later on in the session.
Hi everyone, thanks for having us. I am Luena Cleary. I am the Sustainability Assistant here at Motorsport UK. So as half of my role, I cover the environmental side, which is a lot of carbon calculations, and then the other half is inclusion focused. So I work quite closely with Jenny and Evelka on their inclusion programs as well.
Amazing. So as was just explained by May, motorsport isn't often something that people would necessarily think about having a career in unless you know somebody in your family or you've done something, maybe karting or participating from a young age. So we are here today, and what we do with all of our programs is to try and work with young people and to tell them what a fantastic industry it is, how brilliant STEM is embedded into motorsport, and hopefully inspire more people to either want to compete, perhaps volunteer or work in the industry. So next slide, please. Motorsport UK is the governing body of all four-wheeled motorsports. So that involves any kind of competing. We have 70,000 competitors all across the UK. 15,000 volunteers, which are absolutely crucial. Motorsport does not happen without the volunteers, the marshals, the scrutineers, the timekeepers, all giving up their time for free because they love being a part of the motorsport family. And it's a great way to get up close and to the action without actually having to pay, and just building up your experience and your companionship with other like-minded people. So across the UK, we have 4,000 nationwide events, from grassroots karting events to streetcar, right up to the British Grand Prix, which is the biggest event that we have for motorsport for four wheels in the UK. And the Grand Prix, for any of you that have heard of Formula One, takes place across the world in around 24 different countries. And again, talking about grassroots, that's when we're talking about the starting point in motorsport. So we have 650 clubs all over the country going out most weekends to compete in different types of motorsport, which will include competitors, volunteers, and obviously the events and locations. So as you can see in the photo, there's not just one kind of motorsport. With four wheels, it's not just Formula One. We have rallying, we have streetcar, there's F4, auto tests, karting, which is typically your first route into motorsport. And generally people will start indoor karting and then follow through the pathway to get to outdoor karting. But there is so much out there either to participate in or just to enjoy as a spectator and really feel that buzz of adrenaline.
So yeah. So you're probably thinking, you've seen the disciplines, you've heard about the different pathways in terms of how people get involved in volunteering. Now you're probably thinking, what does that mean for me and the subjects that I'm doing at school, and how could I relate this to the motorsport space? So on this slide, you would see that there's a varied range of ways you can get involved in motorsport through a number of different career pathways. And I'm saying this just as a caveat, this is not the be all and end all. There are so much more out there than what you can see on the screen today. So from a technical engineering aspect, if that's something that you are more hands-on, practical, love to get your hands dirty and into the weeds and thick of motorsport, working on the cars or whatever that may be, you can look at the technical and engineering aspect, and that also links to IT software if you're interested in more of the computer related stuff as well. Then you have your racing. Now, I am going to caveat and say that racing is probably one of the hardest routes to get into, But that doesn't mean you can't do it when you're older. We have an initiative internally called Streetcar, where people are encouraged to use their own road car to take part in different trials and opportunities, just casually as well. And in rallying, I believe it is, you can also be a co-driver. So there is still various ways that you can get involved in racing that perhaps may not be so much like the F1 side or F4 side, where people make and build their careers out of it, but there are still opportunities to do so. But even in the racing side, you have the driver coach, you have the data analyst that works really closely with the drivers and the racing to make sure that you have the best performance for the car and the person racing the car. Then, if you're more into getting things done and seeing the behind the scenes of motorsport, you can look into operations as a career pathway, and that can look like facilities, working in HR, could be working as a recruiter, and I'm sure you've heard about what that is like from the previous talk. And different things like that. Basically thinking about all of the behind the scenes that happens for a motorsport team to basically be applicable to be on track. Then you have the logistics. How do things get from place A to B efficiently, sufficiently, as well as sustainably? And that's where you can look at becoming project planners or, equipment sourcing, car panelists, car part specialists, whatever it may be. If you're more into the projects and you love planning, that could be a pathway for yourself. And then something that I'm sure a lot of young people are interested in is media. You can be a presenter, commentator, getting involved in the races, taking content, publishing content, getting people excited about motorsport and what's out there. There is the media pathway. And then, as Jenny touched on earlier, volunteering, which we have over 70,000 volunteers across the motorsport arena. And these are basically non-paid posts that you can get involved in. So whether that's becoming a flag marshal, so waving the flags for different points of the race, whether that is making sure that the timekeepers who monitor the times as to when the race starts and finish and what cars, the speed of the different cars and how they basically keep track throughout the race. There are so many varied volunteering aspects that you can get up close and personal to motorsport and still have a really great time. But it does also mean working in all weather conditions as well. So that's just to give you a really quick glance as to the different pathways, and based on your skill set and your interest, there is something for everyone, no matter what that is. Next slide, please.
Perfect, thank you. So now you've heard about all the kind of different pathways in motorsport, you're probably wondering, well, how do you actually get involved? So we've created the Inclusion Hub website, which is freely available for any young person to find out about industry opportunities within the motorsport industry. So this has everything from becoming a volunteer to early careers, educational opportunities, building your network and joining inclusive programs. So there's roughly about 30 organizations on this website that are all working very hard to provide STEM opportunities and inclusive programs to young people that want to get involved in motorsport. So if you are interested in getting involved, I definitely recommend having a look at the website. You can scan the QR code there that will lead to it, and you can filter by age, location and price so you can find a local opportunity near you.
Fantastic. So at Motorsport UK, we aim to try and make motorsport more inclusive. We need to get younger people into the sport of any interest, any age, any gender, any ethnicity. Doesn't matter who you are, we want to include you in our sport, because the three of us sat here and everyone in our office loves motorsport. We think it's a great place to be, and we think it's something that we hopefully some of you would like to join us on. So my job is to manage the Girls on Track programme. Currently, there are not enough women in motorsport, as the same with STEM. So my job is to try and create events and opportunities for both young girls and slightly older girls and older women to get involved, to be in a space where they are surrounded by other women, other females, and to try and build confidence and to see that motorsport is a space for them. So we run events for young schoolgirls, but more particularly for yourselves, with talking about our community. So our community is, next slide, please. Our community is completely free to join. It is open to anybody that would like to take part. We have a huge range of opportunities on offer to try and, as you can see in that photograph, bring women together who have similar interests. So we have webinars that we will run every other month. And these webinars, we had one last night, are on complete range of themes, but all motorsport linked. So we've done them on motorsport medicine, so what it's like to be a medic in motorsport, something more traditional, such as an aerodynamicist or an engineer. And last night, we actually had one run by a company that actually designed the racetracks. So from a piece of grass, piece of land, getting it developed to a track like Silverstone, that is their job. And they need architects and all sorts of clever people that do different jobs to get involved. So that's something that might be of interest. Completely free to join the webinars, and you can join them anywhere in the world. We also have a range of opportunities where women could come together in person. We always like to try and give you the chance to hear from a panel of women to really get a behind the scenes feel of what it's like to work in motorsport. And it's not always quite the glamour that you would see if any of you have watched Formula One on television. It's not quite as rosy as that, but it's still a fantastic industry and a brilliant space to work in. So it's the chance to hear from those women that work in this space and to find out, why do you do your job? Why do you love it? How did you get there? What did you study at school? What advice would you give me? And that chance to really ask those questions that you wouldn't normally get to have. And then ever increasingly in the last couple of years, we are now supported more and more by motorsport industry, Formula One, but also touring cars, British GT, lots of different types of racing, to give our community members opportunities. Because as you will know, when you're trying to find maybe writing your CV or maybe looking for a cover letter, experience is absolutely crucial. So we're now being given those opportunities to give our community members experience. Come along to a race weekend, be there from 7 o'clock till 5 o'clock or whatever it might take, but get stuck in, find out what it's actually like to be part of a motorsport team. So if any of you are interested, as with Luena's QR code, this will take you to a closed Facebook group for the Girls on Track community. We're around 100 away now from 11,000 members. Everybody is welcome. And we hope that you can join our space and feel like you can ask those questions, feel supported, and see other women that look like you in motorsport.
Thank you, Jenny. And in terms of the other program that I mentioned earlier, in which I manage, is the Race for Diversity program. So the Race for Diversity program launched about 18 or so months ago. So it's one of the newest programs that Motorsport UK has taken internally. And it's all about bringing young people from across all genders, all ethnicities, all socioeconomic backgrounds into the sport to gain an opportunity. It is at the moment funded by Mission 44, Sir Lewis Hamilton's charity. And it's all about giving young people the opportunity to engage with motorsport through STEM. So if you enjoy your sciences, your tech, your engineering, your math, but even if you really enjoy media and that creative side, there is still an opportunity for you to get involved. So next slide, please. So the main mission for the program is diversifying paddocks across the UK, and we do this through schools program, community programs, looking at future talent and working with industry partners so we can create a safe environment for you to learn, for you to build community, and for you to engage with one another. The main aspect that I want to discuss with you that's probably more relevant is the community aspect, but also encouraging you as future talent in the sport to consider how you can get involved and what different career pathways there are and how we can best support you. So as part of our community, we, very similar to Jenny and the Girls on Track program, We help those who feel underrepresented in the sport to find a really safe environment for you all to engage with one another, to share your passion, and to get involved and create a space where you can all enjoy motorsport in a way where you don't feel like you're excluded. And so one of the key aims for the community for us is basically providing opportunities and making the sport accessible to everyone. It will seem, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It is a tough industry to be in, and it's very competitive. But as Jenny mentioned as well, once you have the volunteering and once you have the exposure and get involved in loads of different things, people are able to see that actually this person is working really hard to be in the industry, and you can use a lot of that experience to put in your CVs and cover letters. So the community provides you with a number of different opportunities that have come up from different motorsport organizations, but not just your F1 teams and your touring car teams or your racing teams, but also those that are connected to those industries. So those that build the batteries or those that, create, as Jenny mentioned, the tracks and loads of different things. So there's a lot of round support organizations that help the motorsport industry to survive and have longevity. So for our community, we really want to encourage yourselves who are interested in, finding what opportunities there are out there through our Discord, which the QR code takes you there. But what we also do as part of our community is we share opportunities, we have networking events, and we take you all to inspirational venues. And the key thing for our events is to basically get you into a room to hear from people in the industry doing great things, for you to connect with those things. Networking is really, really crucial as we go on. And for yourselves who are really interested in motorsport, networking is probably one of the first steps that you should be considering taking to make those connections in the industry, so you can have a conversation, you can see what's working, you can hear what's happening in the industry, but also it gives you an open door to connect with that person and see whether their organization or what their skill set is, so you can get mentorship or whatever that is. We do, on an ad hoc basis, run webinars, but I would say the bulk of our engagement is putting on community events, giving you the space to network, and ultimately creating our Discord to be quite conversational, for you to share any challenges, but also to share any questions or opportunities that may arise as well. So the QR code here on this page links you to our Discord channel that you can join. Again, it is free to join, similar to Jenny's community. And what we want to do is basically help to give everyone an opportunity where they can engage in motorsport and find an opportunity for themselves. So finally, as part of Motorsport UK, we just want to thank you. We hope that you found this session insightful and you were able to gain some knowledge. I know there were questions in the chat, which I believe Jenny has kindly started answering. So thanks, Jenny. But if you have any further questions, feel free to pop it in the chat, or you can send them to Eric, and then we will be in touch with you all to answer any questions and that you may not get answered here today. But ultimately, as part of Motorsport UK, we want to have more people enjoying motorsport more often, and we hope that is you. Thank you so much.